All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something we all deal with every single day, but probably don't think about nearly enough: the security of our data up in the cloud. It's this wild, invisible world, and we're about to draw you a map. Now, seriously, think about it for a second. When you upload that photo, fire off that email, where does it actually go? It doesn't just poof, disappear into the air. It kicks off this incredible, really complex journey through servers and networks and storage systems all over the globe. Okay, so to make this fun, let's treat a single piece of your data, let's call it our hero. We're going to follow its epic adventure from the second it's born to its final dramatic end, and we'll see all the crazy challenges it has to face along the way. So every single piece of data, our little hero, it goes through 6 main phases in its life. It all starts with create. Now, that's not just its birth, it's also anytime it gets updated or changed. Then it gets stored somewhere on some disk. Use is when it's being looked at or processed. Share is pretty obvious, that's when it travels to someone else. Archive is like its long-term hibernation. And finally, destroy, well, that's the end of the road. So, now that we know the path our hero takes, let's look at the incredible armor and all the vigilant guardians that protect it at every single step. Because, let's be real, in the digital world, danger is lurking around every corner. The whole world of data security is basically built on these 3 core ideas, and they call it the CIA triad. This is like the fundamental code of honor. Confidentiality means you gotta keep it secret. Integrity means making sure nobody's messed with it. And availability means you can actually get to it when you need it. It sounds simple, but this little triangle is incredibly powerful. Let's make this super real. Say you find a great new app, but to unlock all the features, it needs your payment info. Here's the problem, though. The app itself just isn't built to those super high Fort Knox level security standards for handling credit cards. So what do? How do you use the app without just throwing your financial data out there? The solution is this absolutely brilliant trick called tokenization. This is the magic behind stuff like Apple Pay or Google Pay. Instead of giving the app your actual credit card number, your real number gets sent to this ultra-secure digital vault. That vault then creates a totally random, meaningless string of characters, that's the token, and sends that back to the app. The app just uses that safe token, so your real sensitive data is never, ever exposed. It's like giving your data a superhero disguise. And that whole idea perfectly illustrates why we need automated guardians. We call it data loss prevention, or DLP, and it's basically a set of tools that act like a tireless, high-tech security guard for your data, just constantly on patrol. So how does this digital guard actually work? Well, first, it uses discovery to go out and find and label all the sensitive data you've got. Next, it uses monitoring to watch where that data is going. Is someone trying to copy the entire customer list to a thumb drive? That kind of thing. And finally, it uses enforcement to actually do something about it, like blocking the transfer or shooting an alert to a manager. It's the whole find it, watch it, and stop it approach to data security. Protecting personal stuff like credit card numbers is obviously critical. But big organizations have another kind of hero they have to protect: their valuable ideas, their intellectual property. So how do you put digital armor on something like a secret recipe or a brilliant new invention? Well, it turns out each type of idea gets its own unique kind of legal shield. A trade secret, like the formula for Coke, is protected for as long as you can keep it a secret, potentially forever. A patent protects an invention from being copied, but only for a set number of years. Copyright protects creative work, like a song or a piece of software. And a trademark protects a brand's logo or design, also potentially forever. Each one is a different kind of armor for a different kind of idea. But, like all epic stories, our data hero's journey has to come to an end. Thing is, deleting data is way more complicated than just dragging a file into the recycling bin. First off, some data doesn't get destroyed right away. It goes into the archive phase. You can think of this as a secure, deep freeze hibernation, usually for legal or business compliance reasons. It's a lot cheaper than keeping it in active storage, but man, it is a lot slower to get it back. It's for data you have to keep, but don't really need to use. Now, when it's really time to say goodbye, there are levels to this stuff. Clearing data is like ripping the table of contents out of a book. The pages are still there if you know how to find them. Purging makes it so that even with top-of-the-line lab equipment, that data is gone for good. And destroy? Well, that's the most final act of all. We're talking physically pulverizing, melting, or shredding the actual hard drive. So here's the crucial point. You can't exactly call up your cloud provider and say, hey, can you go physically shred that specific hard drive for me, right? That's where crypto shredding comes in. It is the ultimate cloud destruction method. You encrypt the data with a crazy strong key, and then you just destroy the key. That's it. The data is still technically there, but it's just a meaningless jumble of characters, locked in a box you can never open forever. Now, this whole epic journey, it isn't just left up to chance. Oh no, it is managed by a dedicated team of guardians, and each one has a very specific and very critical job to do to keep our heroes safe. So who are these guardians? Think of it like a royal court, okay? The data owner is the king or queen. They're ultimately accountable. The buck stops with them. The data processor is like the skilled artisan who actually works with the data that's often your cloud provider. The data custodian is the captain of the guard, the tech expert who's responsible for the security. And the data steward? They're the royal advisor, making sure the data is high quality and follows all the rules. It's a real team effort. And to keep everybody honest and accountable, every single action taken on our hero's journey, every time it's accessed or changed or shared, it gets recorded in this permanent, unchangeable logbook. This creates a super detailed audit trail, basically a complete history of our hero's life. This detailed logbook creates something called a chain of custody. It's a legal concept, but it's really just a documented chronological history that proves the data is what it says it is. And this provides something called non-repudiation. It's a fancy term, but all it means is you get ironclad proof so someone can't just deny they did something. There are no "I didn't do it" excuses when it's written right there in the log. So from its birth all the way to its final crypto-shredded end, your data lives this secret, protected life. Its journey is complex, defended by technology, by processes, and by people. So the question is, for all the data that you create every day, do you have any idea who its guardians are? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us.